In this video, I'm going to be talking about the negative effects of high-fat diet or ketogenic diet on zinc levels, as well as the effect on vitamin B12. So high-fat diets reduces megalin and cubilin, and these two, megalin and cubilin, they work together to bind the vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor, because without those, the B12 becomes deficient. I've actually already made a video on this already. Okay, so there's the Cubilin, and it actually binds to the vitamin B12 intrinsic factor connection, uh, but it can't do it without megalin. So if high-fat diet or keto lowers megalin, cubilin can still bind to the vitamin B12 and intrinsic factor complex. But if megalin is missing, then the cubilin can't anchor, because the megalin has to help the cubilin anchor. If the cubilin can't anchor, then that's going to lead to a vitamin B12 deficiency, even if cubilin can bind to the vitamin B12 intrinsic factor. Also, as a side note, intrinsic factor requires parietal cells to secrete the intrinsic factor. Vitamin A feeds or enables parietal cells to make the intrinsic factor. Okay, so B12 or adequate levels of B12 results in cysteine. So cysteine is a sulfur-containing amino acid, and its key roles relevant to zinc metabolism are linked to metallothioneins, or metallothioneins are small cysteine-rich proteins that bind metals, including zinc and copper. So if B12 is deficient, then cysteine is going to be deficient as well, and then the metallothionine cannot bind zinc or copper. Okay, so low cysteine means impaired zinc and copper storage and regulation, because metallothionine normally regulates these metals, such as zinc, important for immunity, also gene expression, and copper involved in oxidative enzymes and iron metabolism. So if iron is not being metabolized, that could possibly lead to a vitamin A deficiency, because iron enables vitamin A, and then the parietal cells are not secreting intrinsic factor to bind to the B12. And then if zinc is deficient, okay, weakened immunity, and then lower gene expression. That means genes for positive benefits in the body are not working. Those benefits won't work even if minerals and nutrients are adequate. So another major issue with the metallothionein is low is that not only is there a copper imbalance, but there is also toxic free copper. And then free metal ions can contribute to oxidative stress. Okay, so this is how a high-fat keto diet could cause problems for the brain, because free copper is especially toxic to the brain. Anxiety, irritability, mood swings, depression, brain fog, memory issues, headaches, migraines. So free copper, it can even be cancerous, because free copper can generate reactive oxygen species, or ROS for short, causing DNA damage. DNA damage is actually linked to cancer, or one of the causes of cancer. And free copper is also toxic to the liver, can cause liver damage. The liver is the main organ that regulates copper, and copper buildup can cause liver inflammation, progression to fibrosis, or even cirrhosis in severe cases. So the high-fat keto diet, it's touted so much, but according to this data, a keto diet can actually be risky unless if there are ways to somehow mitigate or bypass the negative effects of a keto diet with copper. Then I'll have to do more further research on that, because I don't think I have all the pieces. So free copper, also possible contribution to estrogen dominance patterns. Now, I've also done some research that high estrogen levels can even be cancerous, but that's beyond the scope of this video. Also, excessive free copper may promote oxidation of LDL cholesterol, contributing to arterial damage and inflammation, and increases risk of cardiovascular issues over time. So the key early step in atherosclerosis is foam cell formation, because macrophages, they attempt to engulf or to get ingest the oxidized LDL with their scavenger receptors. And then what happens is that macrophages, they become overloaded with cholesterol esters, turning macrophages into foam cells. And then foam cells accumulate and form fatty streaks, the earliest visible lesion in arteries. Over time, these develop into atherosclerotic plaques. And now it actually gets worse. There is also further progression of plaque formation because of reduced nitric oxide availability due to the excess copper, and then impaired vasodilation, and then increased vascular stiffness. Now, free copper, can also lead to tumor cloaking with platelets. I've actually talked about this before, but copper can influence thrombosis and cancer-related vascular behavior because elevated copper levels may enhance platelet activation and aggregation, and then increased risk of microthrombi or small clots. And in cancer, these platelets can adhere to CTCs, or short for circulating tumor cells. And this cloaks tumor cells and makes them undetectable to the immune system because the platelet cloaks, they act like armor on the tumor that protects the tumor. It can even be the same platelets from the heart and atherosclerosis. Okay, so quick recap to close off the video. High-fat keto diet, which is touted a lot, especially on YouTube, uh, leads to megalin deficiency, or being too low, and then Cubilin cannot anchor, even if it can bind to B12 intrinsic factor complex. As a result of not anchoring, that leads to vitamin B12 deficiency, and then also leads to cysteine deficiency because B12 makes cysteine, and then metallothionein, which relies on cysteine. Metallothionein cannot store a zinc and copper can even become free and toxic in the body, causing all of the issues that I already explained throughout the video. So that's it for the video. If you're interested in further knowledge and insights that I have been digging deep into, then make sure to like, comment, share these videos with your friends and family. Subscribe, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.